What's going on, guys? Seth here for TLG Reacts, talking about the alleged Armored Core 6 leaks. That's right, Armored Core 6 allegedly has been leaked, and we're going to discuss it. We got details, we got screenshots-ish, and we're going to talk about all the details. I want to say before we get into this to take this with a grain of salt. This could be fake, possibly, but it seems to not be, and it, in my opinion, makes sense. I think the time is right for a new Armored Core, and only time will tell. But let's jump into this information and see what you guys think, and let's talk about it. All right, this information comes from Resetera via a user named Red Liquorice, who said, I've just finished doing a consumer survey about a new Armored Core game with descriptions, screenshots, and two 30-second-ish videos of gameplay. The first, a boss fight, and the second, more in-world gameplay, a snow area. The screenshots are unique ID watermarks, so probably not a good idea to post, but I did screenshot the text description. If this isn't okay to post, mods, please edit this, yada, yada, yada. That's to let them know to take care of that if they need to. And yeah, a lot of times when you have access to this kind of stuff, and you're not supposed to show people, they do watermark the screen, so they will be able to track who put that out there. So you're probably not getting another invite to a FromSoftware survey unless this was on purpose. The information that they screenshotted says melange, an unknown substance that could dramatically advance human society. In the past, the substance caused a cosmic catastrophe on planet Bashtar that engulfed the surrounding star systems, and eventually its very existence was lost. Decades later, the melange reaction was confirmed again on planet Bashtar. In search of the unknown substance that should have been lost, various speculations begin to swirl. Various parties are getting involved: the government, corporations, cultists, and unknown mercenaries. The protagonist is one of them. The game is a TPS, third-person shooter mecha action title that lets you move around an overwhelmingly scaled map that represents a unique sci-fi world with dynamic mech action. You will face strong enemies and fierce battles, both long and short range, using guns and blades. That sounds like a game I've played before. Continuing, the sci-fi world created by Miyazaki from FromSoftware's unique and deep sci-fi worldview and multi-layered story set on the planet Bashtar, sci-fi world devastated by a planet-wide disaster with an overwhelming sense of scale that only mecha can provide. A vast field that represents a multi-layered world. In a massive and three-dimensional map, you can feel the scale of the mecha universe. A wide variety of maps offer an array of challenging enemies and carefully crafted situations that are worth taking on again and again. Feel the tension in a long and short range battles. This game offers not only long range combat with guns, but also short range combat elements such as blade and shield that add a sense of urgency to gameplay. It continues there, but it's cut off. And then for everybody listening, the game's dynamic three-dimensional movement is something no human can imitate. You can freely move around the vast map with unique mobility of a mech. And then lastly, we got high degree of freedom in customization. Reconfigure body parts and weapons in order to upgrade your mech. With a high level of customization, you can build a mech to suit your playstyle, from a build that focuses on close range and mobility, or a build that emphasizes firepower to wipe out swarms of enemies at once. Without somebody saying that they got a survey for this, if somebody just kind of put that out there like this, as is, I would assume this is Armored Core, what they're describing here, which of course it is, but we don't see it posted anywhere that they are saying, hey, this is the next Armored Core. They're just like, hey, it's a mecha game made by FromSoftware, and Miyazaki has something to do with it, which is very cool. But yeah, with all the information, this is pretty much what I would expect from a modern day Armored Core game, so it sounds pretty par for the course, and in my opinion, as a huge fan of Armored Core, very exciting. So continuing on, Red Liquorice, the original poster, said, I did screenshot them too, but they're ID watermarked, so wary about posting them. The video was streamed and watermarked, so couldn't save that even if I wanted to. And then they explain what the screenshots we're going to look at are. So anybody listening, this is probably going to be more interesting, even though I'm going to look at the pictures and talk about them. But the screenshots that are shown, and I will go over next, are one, A more snowy area player character in the air firing down on a street with vehicles below, tanks, cars, question mark. Number 2 is a smoke-filled aerial shot with an enemy in the distance. Ooh. 3, a darker green-gray toned area, gunfire and light fire coming from combat everywhere. Number 4, snowy area again, ground-based combat against a similar-sized enemy, PvP. 5 through 8. Why does it say 5 through 8? These four look like boss fight shots. So apparently these look like boss fights. As we read on and kind of look through, well, I guess as I've read on, in the comments, everybody seems to think this is a Dark Souls game, like a Dark Souls styled game, and I'll talk about my opinions on that in a sec. So they're people are really focusing on the boss fights, which is cool because Armored Core's always had boss fights that were like huge and crazy, or just the same size as you but fast and all over the fucking place. People really are talking and comparing this to Dark Souls, which we'll see. We'll see when it comes out. 5, a bigger humanoid mech, white gray player character has red lights on their mech on ankles, shoulders, and lower back. Number 6, a huge, tall, armored tank boss. 7, difficult to make out, player on right, enemy, another humanoid mech on left, a yellow gold slash effect. I think the player is attacking the enemy with a melee attack. 8, gunfire battle with circular yellow effect in front of character, blocking the gunfire with shields of some attack. Shape and color reminds me of Heal Miracle in Dark Souls Golden Circle. All right, so those are the descriptions from Red Liquorice, the person who posted the pictures. And we're going to look at those pictures. Now, I'm going to let people know these are watermarked. This is typically a way to track these screenshots. They typically will have some kind of thing on there that can tell the people who put these out, who put the survey out, who released these screenshots. So this person will probably be tracked. But unless they blurred these on their own, which probably would have been a smart move. All right, so we're looking at screenshots, and in the top left we have a quadruped mech that is in the air, boosting. Pretty typical Armored Core fare here. So on a snowy map, and these pictures are kind of shit, but also they do look modern. This does look like a modern game compared to prior Armored Cores that go all the way back to like PlayStation. So to fake these would be pretty crazy in my opinion. Next picture, we got something coming out of smoke or either exploding possibly, and then if you look at the top right, you can see a mech boosting away from that. Bottom left is some kind of explosion or missiles being shot. You can kind of see in the blurred area what seems to be it looks like a mech to me. It looks like it's firing. And then on the bottom right, you have two mechs that look like they're both kind of strafing, probably in a circle or whatever. You can see the booster's actually boosting to the left as he's going to the right, and he's shooting. That's pretty typical of Armored Core as well. A lot of the sliding and boosting around. So it definitely looks like Armored Core to me. And yeah, the graphics look clean. They look modern, like I said before, and they do look more true to form to what you expect from Armored Core, as opposed to Armored Core 5's weird direction that they took the game in and ultimately ended the series. Continuing on, we have a picture that seems to be a mech with some kind of shield in front of them. Now, in prior ones, there was shields that you could use, but in this, it seems as though it's like a force field in front of you, and they're fighting some kind of mech that could be a boss, could be some kind of enemy type that looks, pretty aggressive, seems to have weapons, like machine gun and things on his shoulders. Pretty cool looking. And then the next one we got is almost like a mobile fortress looking thing. Would be pretty typical of an Armored Core to have some kind of moving giant enemy type. It looks like something I would expect, but also looks very cool. Looks kind of simple though too, which is kind of interesting because like in For Answer they had like that giant, I think it was like the second mission or something. They had that giant fucking mech you had to fight, and it was such a cool spectacle. So I would expect more things like that. but maybe it's the fifth mission. I don't remember. Doesn't matter. But yeah, this kind of reminds me of that. It seems to have guns on all of its sides. Kind of seems to be like a roaming castle type thing, which is pretty cool looking. Bottom left, we have definitely seems to be a dude swinging a sword at another mech. I don't know if the guy's dodging it or if he's being hit by it, but it looks like some kind of vertical upward cut, which is definitely cool looking. And then bottom right, we got another shot of a guy definitely using a shield, because you can see all the spark effects happening off the shield as a dude from across the way is shooting bullets into it, and it's very cool looking. These are all very cool looking. I'm very fucking excited at the prospect of a new Armored Core, but also what I'm seeing here looks like a realized vision, and I'm really excited that it's looking great, because I mean, I played Armored Core 5 and I was not happy with it. Liked every single other one though. Just 5 wasn't that great. Moving on, we have in the top left corner picture a dystopian sci-fi cyberpunk looking silhouette landscape with a mech flying in the air with a large gun. Very cool looking. Top right, we have another sci-fi landscape that looks very cool. Same thing with the bottom left. This one, the one in the top right, is more like sunny and bright and looks a lot less dreary, I guess. And then the bottom left is also dystopian looking. Looks like a kind of a factory area with like power lines and in the air. Almost seems like a huge explosion's happening, or the sky's just very fiery looking. I'm not sure. And then bottom right, we have another factory-esque giant dystopian landscape in front of a gray sky that looks very Armored Core-like. Now moving on, we have in the top left corner a very Final Fantasy VII-esque giant landscape that seems very sci-fi as well. Top right, we have also a very sci-fi one, but it's all neon bluish. Looks like it's inside of a cave almost. You can see something dripping from the ceiling. I don't know if that's water or some kind of radioactive shit. In the bottom left corner, it seems to be a mech. I would assume it's a mech because in the background almost looks like there's a building. But it's a very humanoid looking mech. Almost looks like power armor, but I doubt that's what it is. It's probably just a mech. But the blurs in the picture make it kind of hard to make out. Then the bottom left, it almost looks like some kind of spaceship or space station. The backdrop looks like space. Below it looks like some kind of planet or something going on there. And then in the foreground, you have something that seems to be a spaceship, a satellite, a space station, something like that. And then in the bottom right corner, you have what seems to be some kind of stadium or spherical building that's being constructed by big, long construction arm things in kind of a deserty backdrop, which is very cool. All right, well, that is all the info we got here and the pictures. Quick impressions on this. What I'm seeing looks awesome. I'm loving these pictures, especially these first 4 that you see with the more actiony shots, the quadruped mechs that you expect from Armored Core, the boosting, the sliding, the shooting. We see one flying in the air over there next to some giant vehicle. And then, of course, the sword slashing, the shield being used against bullets, incoming bullets. I'm really digging the way this is looking. And it does look like Armored Core. It doesn't have that weird Armored Core 5 derailed look to it that they did with that game. This does look more return to form, but in a modern way, which is really exciting. And then also I'm excited about the details. They sound like Armored Core. They sound like something I would want from a new Armored Core game. It sounds like they're going bigger and bolder, which they were doing up until 5. And so it's expected. And yeah, I'm very excited about the prospect of Armored Core 6, though, whatever they end up calling it. My apprehension, I guess, would be that it would follow a Dark Souls formula. And I know that's going to be, reading these comments, I can tell a lot of people didn't play Armored Core. Because there's such a parallel happening between this and Armored Core, Dark Souls. And for anybody who didn't play Armored Core is a fast-paced mecha third-person action game that involves a lot of boosting, flying, if you want to play like that. Mechs that have tank tread, spider legs, bipedal legs, swords, machine guns, rocket launchers, locking on missiles, all sorts of shit like that. And so it never lended itself to a like bonfire exploration checkpoint, die and have to return to anything challenging gameplay, even though Armored Core was challenging in a lot of ways, especially if you're playing like through the arena or fighting these giant bosses that were spectacles. But the gameplay is completely different, and I would hope they would keep this like traditional Armored Core and evolve it. I don't want to play a reskinned Dark Souls game. Not saying FromSoftware does this, but I'm saying that I don't want just another Souls-esque game from FromSoftware. What I would love is we get Elden Ring, and when Elden Ring gets dropped, then they very soon, which seems like it's going to happen, reveal the Armored Core is being worked on, which would be fucking huge. They release that, and then after that we get Bloodborne 2. That would be fucking amazing. But yeah, that'd be the move. But it'd be great if we get something else from FromSoftware that's not of the Dark Souls brand, in the sense that, of course, Elden Ring looks in a lot of ways different than Dark Souls. It also looks similar to Dark Souls, which is great. That's what I want. But I definitely want them to return to form with Armored Core, because they had such an identity carved out with that series that to deviate from that, I think, would be an injustice to the legacy of that brand. And so I hope they stay with that. I hope they don't make just another Dark Souls-esque game, but with mechs. That would really kind of suck. Just like they own the Tenchu brand. And I know that Sekiro originally was supposed to be Tenchu, but I would still love if they made a stealth ninja game, like a legit stealth game. That was Tenchu. That'd be sick. So, I mean, they have these brands. They can make other things. That's not Dark Souls. But a bunch of people seem to really want a Dark Souls mech game. And if they do that, I would hope they'd create something else. Because Armored Core already has an identity, and they already fucked around with it with Armored Core 5, and that led to, I think that was made in 2012 or something. I mean, it was a while ago. So we haven't had an Armored Core in a long time. It's time to bring it back, and it's time to return to form. I want a long campaign with a cool story and big spectacles, big bosses, awesome mech fights. I want a shitload of customization when you're making your mech. I want new stuff that we didn't have in the prior games. I want an arena mode. I want PvP like the older ones had, online or just local. I don't care. Although it's fucking 2022, it should have online. And then yeah, surprise me with some other shit. Battle Royale. I'm joking. And yeah, I mean, I that's what I want. I want Armored Core in the modern day, better graphics, better effects, and I want them to go big with it. I want them to go crazy with this, because at this point, even if you would want to make the argument that Armored Core doesn't have legs nowadays because they haven't made one in a while, FromSoftware does, because they've made some of the biggest games of the last like fucking 10 years. With the Souls games, Bloodborne, Sekiro, and soon to be Elden Ring, which is going to sell like a motherfucker. So at that point, they can make anything, and their name's going to sell it. I think it's time to bring back Armored Core. I think it's time to, even for the people who never play Armored Core, never had hype for it, they're going to have hype for it now because FromSoftware's making it. And at this point, that name will sell anything. And if they make a good Armored Core, it's going to be win-win for everybody. And I'll be very happy with anything, really. If it's a Dark Souls game that's mechs, I mean, if I'm being honest, I'll fucking play it. But if it's like a legit Armored Core, holy shit, I would be so happy, and I think a lot of people would be happy as well. All right, that's my thoughts on the alleged Armored Core 6 leaks. Let me know in the comments, what do you guys think of these screenshots? What do you think of the information? Do you think this is all legit? Do you think it's fake? And do you have info or thoughts that weren't mentioned in this, I almost said article, but just this person's description of everything that they saw. And when do you think they're going to announce this? They already have video of this and that they're showing people. And yeah, let me know your thoughts on everything we talked about in this episode. And yeah, that's going to do it. Stay tuned. I got another episode coming out today. I want to start doing more news-oriented stuff again. And we have a Tastecast coming out soon as well. So you're going to be getting a bunch of content this week. Look forward to it. And yeah, I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, have a good one and take it easy.